part of. You've got an advanced driver course that's in the new Humanities in Motion book. Your work in Bali is becoming legendary, not to mention the work that's done with Disaster Aid Australia and all of the work that's done with new generations and youth. You know, it just captures for me that Rotary clubs are the heart and soul of Rotary, and we need to do everything in our power if we're going to keep Rotary as the foremost service organisation in the world. We've got to do everything in our power to strengthen Rotary clubs and make them more attractive to the community, and particularly younger people. And that's one of the joys, I think, for Marion and I to be here, to see the number of younger people associated with this club. However, that's not true across the board, and we've got to keep going. Because I think one of the great thinkers in Rotary is Stuart Heal. He's the Rotary Director for Australia and New Zealand. And he says, fairly sharply, look, if Rotary is to survive, and I underline that, if Rotary is to survive, we must make change an integral part of everything Rotary does. And he makes 4 points. The first one is we must attract and maintain members. Now, how could you do better than Hope Island? It's already up to 8. And we brought a nice little booklet for new members. And Sandy, you'll be glad to know I brought about 10 or 12 because I know you're going to move up from there. But remember, even if you are a new member, it's quite okay to bring another person, a colleague, a workmate, an acquaintance, a relative to Rotary, because they might get just the same bang out of Rotary that you do. And I only have to say it to the older members, look, continued success is bringing new people in with creative ideas. So that's number one. Attendance, the maintenance and building of new members. Number two is this. We need to look at our traditions and, where necessary, make new ones. And I know people are experimenting all over the district, and I am encouraging that. People are cutting meal prices down. They're doing a combination of regular meetings combined with service, combined with social activities. They are encouraging members to do different things in the way that they make up, and we're looking at corporate membership. And one of my pet hates in Rotary, and I get told this everywhere I go by young people, look, they love Rotary, they love the fellowship, they love the service, but they do not understand what Rotarians are talking about. And again, this club was right on the ball. I was watching you. The problem for newer members is they don't know what YEP means, RILA, ROMAC, rights, all of those acronyms we use. Twice this morning, I don't know whether Sandy geared you up, but people explained exactly what RAWCS was, Rotary Australia World Community Service, and I think somebody talked about youth exchange rather than YEP. Keep up the good work. But Sergeant, just in case they do, for the rest of this year, no one is allowed to use an acronym the first time without explaining it. So that's number two. Look at our traditions and, where necessary, change them. Number three is we need to move from a culture of attendance to a culture of engagement. Now let me explain what that means by telling you a story about one of my Rotary members. His name is David. He joined Rotary when he was 40. And he was one of the younger members in our club at that stage. He's now 50, he's got a wonderful business. In fact, 2 or 3 Rotarians in our club work with him. He travels all over the country. He's 3 weeks in Gladstone, 4 weeks in Darwin, he's overseas and so forth. David has never attended Rotary more than about 51% of the time in any one of those 10 years. Yet David is always there. For example, he runs a race day for the club that raises $7,000. He runs about 6 dinners through the year that raised money for Rotary Australia World Community Service. I won't get caught in my own petard. And that money goes to an orphans project in Indonesia. David was even president for a year, about 5 years ago, and it was a great year, and he still only attended 51% of the time. Now, some of the older members said to me, you know, it's a pretty poor show. David's not here and he's president. I said, it is not a poor show at all. David is always here. He's a great delegator. He's a great manager. He communicated with people during the week, and the night went on just as if David was there. And I think a lot of members in our club learnt a much greater tolerance for ambiguity in dealing with Generation X and Y. And we've got to pervade that not only in our own clubs but through our district. The fourth thing is we need to sell Rotary clubs from the rooftops a little. Rotary clubs are one of the great networking activities and mentoring activities that I've ever met. Look, when I joined Rotary in 1986, I was Pro-Vice-Chancellor of Griffith University. I was not terribly altruistic about doing service in the community. I wanted to network and find sponsors and supporters for the university. And networking was what caught my attention in Rotary. I also found that there were a lot of problems in running a university like that, and there were wonderful mentors who knew about management and how to handle conflict and things like that. So Rotary was a great teacher for me. I think I became imbued in community service later. So tell people about the great strength of Rotary in mentoring and networking, because there's always somebody in a Rotary club who can help you out. We've had a morning, I guess, where you've got Kalyan Banerjee and the Indian story. I'm going to finish with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. And Gandhi says, "We must be the change we want to see in the world." And I'm going to turn it around and say, we must be the change we want to see in Rotary. And folks, I'm actually going to stop there, but we do have a few commercials, so if we've got time, it'll be very short. Okay, I got carried away without that, so. All right, look, let me just come to the district goals. I don't need to say anything about membership. You've given me an incredible start. We only need about 10 clubs to produce 8 more and we're home. Again, the Rotary Foundation. I know exactly what you do in that area, but I want to particularly mention the Horn of Africa appeal and say thank you to this club for its support. I spoke to Jenny Heenan yesterday afternoon, and she told me, not only is she coming to the Gold Coast, that we have raised in the district for the Horn of Africa appeal $21,000. Now that's going to produce quite a few shelters for the Horn of Africa, and it will make a difference. So thank you for your great support in that area. I don't know whether Marion needs to say much about Learn and Grow, but extend the commercial.
Yes, this program, Learn Grow, was started by the Rotary Club of Devonport North. It's a new Rotary project, Rotary International project. It offers one solution to the world's hunger and malnutrition. It uses a database of 23,000 plants that an agricultural scientist from Tasmania developed from work all over the world, mostly in third world countries. They are encouraging people in third world countries to grow plants that are more nutritious and that are more suited to the climate and the soil.